All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. So today we are going to talk about something really obscure and possibly hard to care about, but I care about this and I really think it should be fixed. So we're going to go over it, and that is early game melee weapons. And when I say early game, I mean new players. We're talking about the Mark I bow and the Skana. Now, I realize that these two weapons have a significant problem that is unique to the new player experience, and that is that their stances are incredibly hard to acquire for a new player. It's very likely that a new player is going to spend their time doing this combo, because this is the only combo available to the Mark I bow without a stance mod. And you might be thinking, well, that's not a problem. That's just a new player melee weapon, right? Well, the issue is that this is really not representative of how melee works in Warframe, and this is kind of just like a flaccid representation of what melee should be looking like in the early game. What I mean by that is that by very simply adding a stance mod, like Clashing Forest, which is the uncommon stance mod, and this also gives you room for Fury as well, what you end up having on a rank 30 Mark I bow is, instead of that really flaccid melee playstyle, you instead get a full host of moves. You get to do the whole thing. Like you have stuff to do. Like you have moves, you have movements, you have all this mobility, and it's awesome, and it feels good to play because the stance has more unique things to do than a little swappa combo that doesn't really have much weight. Like, you have all this involvement now and things for players to learn and master and get used to about a stance. And here's the deal. Clashing Forest only drops from Corrupted Ancients, so there's no chance, unless given it by a more experienced player, that a new player is reasonably going to have Clashing Forest when it's relevant to them while they're using the Mark I bow. Now, this problem does persist to the other starter weapon, or the starter melee weapon at least, with the Skana. And on the Skana, I would say it's actually even worse, because without a stance mod, you're not even getting like 2 maxed elementals, because the Skana itself comes with actually 0 polarities to be able to even get 1 combined elemental plus pressure point without this, but that's a separate problem in and of itself. With the Skana, we're looking at this basic combo, and this isn't much better. It's a little bit nicer, I guess, because you got the sword swoosh noise, and that makes you feel good, but it's really bland and will get old really fast. However, if you add even the least impressive stance to this, and what I would see as the most common, given that all of these are rare, it's a little hard to tell, but Iron Phoenix drops in the most places. So if you just add Iron Phoenix to this, what you end up with is not only getting the actual full elementals on here, which doesn't matter much, but you get a more realized weapon. Like, you get involved combos at least a little bit. Like, we have a little bit of difficulty with it because this is actually missing a combo. You're missing one whole branch of combos on this stance in particular, and there's a couple stances like that in the game. But you get way more than you would have otherwise, and it's much more interesting. Now, you might be wondering, well, how does this get fixed? Because Iron Phoenix, obviously this is a rare mod, and it drops also in very few places. Well, the really nice thing about both of these stance mods is that if we look at Warframe Market, both of them cost 2 platinum. So there's not really a market problem or a trading problem we would encounter by DE simply providing these to players. So where do we put them? The really simple answer to that is that whenever a new player starts out, they're on Earth, and they need to go through the junctions, which provide rewards already. We have the Earth junction going to Venus, and the Venus junction going to Mercury. Somewhere along this path, whether it's going from Earth to Venus or Venus to Mercury, one of these junctions, I think, should simply award both of these stances, Iron Phoenix and Clashing Forest. Obviously, I wouldn't have a problem with it giving a different one of the stances. Like, hell, for as much as I care, you could give people Vengeful Revenant on one of these junctions. But I really do think these stances should be available to newer players so they can actually experience what melee is really like much earlier, as opposed to having this kind of weird view of melee as just being this thing that is only really like the quick attack, basic attack, and has no depth. I think that would be a huge improvement, and I honestly think it would be very easy for DE to implement it and would be a great boon to the new player experience overall. But yeah, this is just a thing that I've been thinking about, and I figured I would make a video on it. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. We might do like a easy fixes type series thing whenever I think about stuff like this. I don't know. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you tomorrow.